It's just not user friendly. Hello, everybody. Give me 1 second. I am going to get us into my Facebook group.
Yay. It's like we're actually going into the studio. That's what it feels like. So it's exciting.
So easy. Thanks, Mark Zuckerberg, for making my life much more difficult. Okay, here we go. We should be live in the group. I'm going to double check that. 1 sec.
Yes.
Yeah, I see us. Awesome. Woohoo. All right. We did it. Okay, my friends. You are in for a treat today. Happy Friday Eve day to everybody. Thanks for putting up with my tech issues. I'm going to get this down. This is like my second time to do it. And anyway, Facebook doesn't make it easy, but I conquered it. All right. So you know how we do things. I'm using StreamYard to go live in several places on Facebook and my YouTube channel. So if you're coming to me live through YouTube or you're catching the replay, smash that subscribe button so you never miss one of my live weekly trainings. Now today, we are doing one of my favorite things that we do every month. Once a month, we do a feature interview with one of my Facebook group members. Today, it's my friend Tracey Watts Cirino. She has a great story, you guys. She built a highly successful and profitable brick and mortar business. Then she decided to sell it. And then she decided to, because she wanted to build a business like us as an online entrepreneur with a global presence. So just wait until you hear this story. But in case this is the first time we've ever met, I want to introduce myself before I introduce Tracy. I am Tracy Beavers. I am an award-winning business and sales coach with over 20 years of experience in marketing, sales, and business growth. And several years ago, I became completely fed up with my corporate career, and I hatched a plan to fully exit. And I want to share with you that once I did fully exit it, and I was able to be completely intentional about my online business. In my second full year of business, I blew past the 6-figure ceiling and I haven't looked back. So if you're building your business alongside a full-time job and you're wanting to fully exit, or maybe you've already exited and you're a solopreneur, I want you to know you can do this. This is one of the reasons why we do this Entrepreneurial Inspiration interview once a month, because I'm here to tell you can do it. But I also want to bring in an awesome guest that can remind you can do it too. You can build a multi-6-figure business. I've coached hundreds of entrepreneurs over the years, just like you, to get visible and grow your email list so you can get that consistent monthly income that you really, really want. And if you are thinking you want to hire a coach to guide you, and you need a coach to roadmap your priorities and strategies, DM me or email me. Let's set a coffee chat and talk about how coaching with me is going to skyrocket your business growth. All right, as we go along through this interview, if you have questions or comments for Tracy, throw those into the chat. We will look at those at the end. And if you're coming to us on replay and you have a question for me or for her, just post it and we will swoop in and answer it. All right. I've got to introduce my friend Tracy. And full disclosure, I'm jealous of the way she gets to spell her name because I have the plain Tracy, and she has the fancy pants with an E. And my whole life, I wanted to be an EY or an IE or an EE. But so anyway, here we are, the two Tracys, one plain Jane, one fancy pants. So Tracey Cirino, she is a global course creator, 5-time, you guys, 5-time #1 international best-selling author, award-winning business owner. She's a very dynamic speaker, and she hosts a top-rated podcast called Beyond Common Business Secrets. You need to check out her podcast. She has got a passion in her heart for entrepreneurs just like us, and she wants to help us transform our businesses through workshops that she does, digital training programs. She's got mastermind groups, and she equips us with the things we need, the techniques and the strategies to unlock our full potential. She's certified as a success and mindset coach, as a Canfield Success Principles trainer, and a John Maxwell certified coach and trainer. You guys, welcome, Tracy. I'm so glad you're here.
Well, Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. When you were doing your intro, Trace, I was like, wait, and amazing person. And I just kept on to add that as you were talking about, your stuff. So I just thought I would add that in. No, I'm so grateful to be here. I feel like had been talking about this so long ago. And so here we are. It's like, time never feels like it's linear, right? It's just always skipping around. So I'm just very grateful to be here. And I mean, I am truly so passionate about helping female entrepreneurs and leaders win because there's not that many of us. And, and some of us are afraid to stand out as the business owner leader that we are. We're hiding. So I am always dragging people into the light so that we can see you and letting you have support. So I'm just super passionate about that because we've got to come out of the shadows.
We do. We have to be visible if people are going to find us. Yep.
Absolutely.
All right. So let's dive in.
Yeah.
Because I already gave everybody kind of a teaser. Tell us who you are, what you do, who you serve. I kind of mentioned that already.
Yeah.
But I mentioned in the opener that you had a highly successful business. Do you want to start there? Kind of jump in and tell us all the things.
I would start with, I like to always, set the stage with like what I really do is I help female business owners and leaders set up success systems in the areas like where there are typically challenges with communication, leadership, and technology. And I do this so that you can 10x your business success in the most beautiful and creative way.
I love that.
So, so that's sort of who I help in just the personal side of like, I don't guess where my heart speaks. And when I guess I would say the brick and mortar, my vision was never to sort of get rid of that.
Yeah.
However, God had a different plan, the universe, whatever, like someone else had a different plan. And what we were gearing up for sort of leading up to COVID was all of a sudden people that had been with me for 10 years were moving out of state. We had people leaving the country. We had people on baby number 4 and 5. It's like my sort of like crew nucleus all of a sudden we're leaving. So it was kind of like an interesting thing. And
this was for your hair salon, is that right?
Yeah, this is
Go back to that part though, because I want my audience to know what kind of business did you have originally? What was
I originally had a hair and cosmetic studio, but we were known for color correction. So we were very known in the community for color correction. So I've always done things in the most beautiful, creative way. So, it started with helping women get clear and confident with, sort of the crown that you wear on your head is your hair, right? So that's where my journey began. But as I started teaching and coaching other stylists, I realized I really loved that piece. And then, business owners would ask me if I would come and teach them stuff. So it was like miraculously, I started coaching when I was like 18. For that, it was like stepping in a puddle. It just happened by accident.
Yeah.
And then over the years, I'm like, oh, I really like this part more. So then that's why I opened a salon. It was like, I always had this vision of a group of women coming together that cared more about everybody in the room being the best they could be instead of the catty and backstabbing competition that you hear about in salons. Like that was like never for me. And in the beginning of my career, that kind of almost made me leave the industry.
Yeah.
And then I got really clear in my heart about, there's got to be other people that want to pay it forward and be a part of a winning team. And they're going to care about the chair next to them being busy too. Not just like, so that sort of community mindedness came pretty early. Of what I want. And then we started the salon and we were just really known for color correction and training. And my vision was to have our team take over and do stuff, that just isn't what ended up happening. So
Yeah.
we had a lot of challenges with the year before, like just all these different changes.
Right.
And so I always say that we were literally, I think it was like our 7th or 8th time on the cover of Salon Today magazine. And we had won as one of the top 200 salons in all of North America.
Nice.
And we were literally on the cover of the magazine in 2020, and we sold the salon in the same year. Like, and I didn't even plan that.
Right.
So that's why I say, like, sometimes God has a different plan.
Right.
Because I just really, I always feel called to serve. So I serve where I'm called, I just, follow it. So
yeah,
that's what happened in that situation.
Interesting.
And I never really envisioned that would go, but when it did, that is when everything started like skyrocketing, all the things. So that was sort of the plan of knowing, like, okay, this, you were waiting for me to do this for a long time.
Got it. So like the minute you were able to release and sell the salon is when your online business and the business consulting and coaching just sort of
took off. Yeah. Well, because it's like and this is the thing that I talk about a lot in the CEO Power Code, which is one of our primary programs. And it's all about time mastery. And it's so interesting because we will beat ourselves up as women that are moms and business owners.
Wow.
And it wasn't until realizing, like, I was trying for years to have both run simultaneous.
Yeah.
And it was like every time we would have the leadership team in place, like something would, shift. And I mean, I think my first book took me like 3 years to write.
Oh, wow.
And the other ones came so quick after because because everything shifted. So it's just really interesting that sometimes we spend a lot of time beating ourselves up for something that you actually just have to make a decision, right? Because we can do everything. Everything is absolutely possible. We just have to clarify what we want now.
Yeah.
And so that was like the big shift of, even though that wasn't my vision, it was like, okay, the moment I stopped trying to control stuff and kind of release the brakes, it just all fell into place.
Right. And so what did your family say when you said, so you got
they still think I'm insane. No, they still my family, like, so if we're talking, because I'm kind of like that person that like burns the boats. Then this is a thing I did for 20 some years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm not. So I do not even do that at all anymore.
Right.
Except for my kids, which is so funny because when I owned salons and was teaching on stage haircuts and color, all these, I never really did kids cuts or men's cut. Like, so it's so funny that I'm doing the only part of the job that I really never did that many of. So to me, it's like, I'm not doing it.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So they thought you'd lost your mind because
like, I think my mom and my sister are still secretly mad at me. Like PO'd kind of mad.
That's really funny. That is really funny. Well, was it scary though for you? Because I know you said that the minute you let go of that, it was like the universe opened up and caught you and helped you propel. But what happened in the middle? Like from making that decision to this, was there some trepidation? Was there some like, oh crap, can I really do this?
Oh, that's all the time. Like I'm always really honest about this. Like I just live in absolute authenticity of daily. It's a shit show. How do you, like, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, can you be the queen of it?
Yeah.
So
can you be the ringmaster of it?
Like you've got to kind of, you have to be graceful as possible, but admit that like, hey, I'm not going to ever make it sound more glamorous. It's just not my jam. I mean, I get that people do that on Instagram and
for sure.
And Facebook.
That's why I have this interview series is because that is all we see is the $100,000 launch on your first try, the podcast that you created that is the top 2% ranking on the first 10 episodes. And, that's the stuff we see. What we don't have enough conversations about is exactly what you said, that some days you feel like the ringmaster of the shit show. And you do. And what's hard is you do have to show up with grace and kind of be unflappable because you are a leader and you are a CEO and that's what CEOs do. But, and especially if the shit hits the fan, pardon my language, but if the crap hits the fan family, because we do have personal lives as well as professional lives. And yeah, it can get really hard. So I really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah. Well, it's like, it's if, not when. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not if, it's when. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. It's like, so we can't say, oh, if something goes off the rails, it's just when. There's
Yeah.
just stuff that's going to happen.
Yeah,
And,
it is.
And it wasn't smooth sailing by any
Right.
means. However, I realized, wow, I had been putting way too much pressure on myself.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Expecting, I had been having these like expectations of that you would get all this online stuff done in certain amount of time, where it was like I didn't know what I didn't know. And that led to hiring a lot of the wrong people.
Right.
And like I always say, like, yeah, I've already made the $100,000 mistakes for you.
Same.
So that you do not have to. Like,
right.
Really, it's like so that's the thing. And then so when you're so busy, you almost have the money then to make these ridiculously expensive mistakes.
Yeah.
That, when I started my first business, I was a lot more scrappy. And so it was like, once that was out of the way, I realized, wow, I did a lot of this wrong. And so then you kind of can get to the point that, let's be really clear, which is what I always like. We need to be profitable and do it in a way where our business serves our life.
Yes.
Not we're in service to the business, because I did that wrong the first 20 years. And when that shifted, and that was like, I don't know if I've ever even shared this story with you. Like, that was like, I had a very near-death experience.
Oh my God.
Where my car completely spun out and hydroplaned when I was on a small little freeway, and I was doing these figure eights. And when I would swirl, I was facing oncoming traffic the wrong direction, and I would go, and it kept doing this. So it ended up being like 4 or 5 times like this. And it was the moment, and I get tingles still every time I talk about this.
Yeah.
The moment I decided to close my eyes, let go of the wheel, and say, okay, if today's the day I die, God, please take care of my children. And let go of the wheel and spun. And then I ended up in the middle of the 2 different sides of the freeway where it was like a grassy berm.
Oh my gosh.
Took a very deep breath. Now I'm facing the right way, but I'm not in the thing anymore.
Right.
I'm just like surrounded by mud and water. So I took a breath, promised to never, be so busy, all the things that had been going on.
Right.
And within 5 minutes, the sun opened up, clear. And I literally had grass and mud on my tires and undercarriage, and not a scratch on me or my car.
Wow.
So that is this moment in time where it always takes me back in my journaling all the time.
Yeah.
Because it was in that moment that I think all of this course that proceeded over the next few years led to that change.
Yeah.
Because when people say, well, why did you switch? It was not just one thing, but COVID was the thing that kicked it off, because my childcare was going away. So when you look at this through the lens of your business must serve your life, my children and family had to come first.
Yeah.
And when I made that decision that, okay, I can't work these 16-hour days anymore. We don't have family support anymore.
Right.
That is when it shifted. And it was basically me finally making the decision to put family first.
Gotcha.
Is what helped my business align.
Yeah. So you mentioned, I always like to ask, what are some of the biggest challenges that you faced in the beginning of this? And it sounds like one of those was similar to me, in that you didn't know what you didn't know. And so you hired some people that it turns out were super expensive and didn't give you results. And so were there any other challenges that you can remember that you went through that might be good for our audience to hear?
Yes. Like, actually, I'm going to give you guys a couple of things, but I have a few podcast episodes on Beyond Common Business Secrets that really dive into this. Because it's like, what would you do if you were starting over in your online business?
Yes.
And like, what are those 5 mistakes? So the first thing is that I wireframe, write every single thing down on paper.
Okay.
And it is like you have to do the ultimate brain dump before you hire anyone. And I even I will say I'm a little bit forceful on this with my clients, them to do that, because I do not want to take your money until you are absolutely clear. That is how I can help you 10x your goals and what you're getting. But so the number one thing is writing it all down, pencil, paper. Then we go digital. That's the biggest mistake in doing online business. We go right to the software and right to all the things that break down and cause confusion. That was like, once I just went back to like the basics that served me all the years before, when I wrote my first business plan, and even sketching out what you want your space to look like. It all stems from that. So that is the number one thing, is like writing it out, because until you're clear about what you're hiring for, how can so I don't blame those people. I wasn't clear. I was throwing money at a problem because I was so busy and I wanted to like leverage both. And you can, but you have to take a step back. So that's a lot of what I work with people on, is getting that vision clear. And sometimes it is walking you through grounding meditations so that you can visualize it in a way of what truly is possible, because you've never given yourself permission to do that. So it's sort of really going back to the basics and just eliminating all the noise and chaos of what everyone tells you should do. I'm big on stop shoulding all over yourself and let's, get really clear.
Because there's an argument in the online space for everything. You're going to find people that say you have to run paid ads. Then you're going to find people like me who've had success without paid ads. Then you're going to find people that say you've got to have 3 emails out after every lead magnet. Then you're going to find people like me that are like, maybe, maybe not, it depends. And so that there is so much noise and so much chatter. And I think we forget exactly what you just said, which is to come inside ourselves, to ask ourselves, what do we want? What do we want this to look like? That it needs to serve our life. And how do we want to build authentically? Because if I'm trying to do something the way some big guru's doing it, but it doesn't fit my personality, it's not going to work.
Well, right. Because you're almost putting off bad energy. We're almost put off energy of, I have to do this. Nobody wants to join your party if you feel like you have to do it. It's like a simple word switch. Like, I will always tell my kids, I get to pick you up after school. And they're like, you are so excited. Like, it's just but changing just that word instead of I have to go pick up my kid. It's just a simple thing. So when we are very clear about what's important to us, then we can decide which strategy to pull in. Because if you are chasing something that you feel like you have to do, or I should be doing this, you're making yourself feel tremendously guilty. And people pick up on that, and they're not going to say, oh my God, Tracy, I need to work with you. Whatever she has, I want you.
No, because my energy is not going to be right. Like, I just Voxered Jill, my assistant, right before we came on here, because when I'm solo, my method every week when I'm solo has been to put Instagram on my iPhone on a tripod so that I can get Instagram live at the same time. Well, I'm exhausted from that, quite frankly.
It's too much cameras at once.
I think it's a great strategy. I highly recommend it, and I'll teach it to anybody who wants to know about it so that you can go live in all the places at one time. But I've Voxered Jill, and I'm like, I know you're tracking my Instagram analytics. Does my live twice a month really make that big of it? Because I've only got 2 solos a month. Everything else is a guest expert or an entrepreneurial inspiration interview. And when I've got a guest, I can't pull this in because they won't be able to see you. And so I was like, is this even worth doing? And she goes, you know what? I really don't think it is. Now, we'll change it if she in 60 days says our analytics are tanking and, you need to get your fanny back live on Instagram. But it's just like you were saying, there was a heaviness that I was feeling with the thought of next week having to write the Instagram notes and putting the tripod up and, making sure it worked and checking the DMs and da-da-da-da-da. And I was just having that bad energy, like you just said. So I love the way you described that, because I think there's a lot of people that are listening that are feeling that bad energy heaviness. And they're like, but because I had that thought, just like you said, Tracy. I said to myself, I should go live on Instagram. I should stop being lazy. I am not a lazy CEO. Stop being lazy, put your big girl pants on, and just hold your nose and do it. But I don't want to.
Well, I love what you're saying, because that's exactly it. We walk ourselves through this whole chant.
Yeah.
And how can we create that chant that is more loving and supportive, right? In the sense that, you know what, you had the analytics. So now you're just experimenting. Like,
right.
So I'm not lazy. I am innovative. I'm checking to see if this has been worth my effort.
Right.
We'll find out soon enough.
Right.
And when you have statistics, there's stuff that you can get behind then in a different way.
Yes.
So that's why if you start with the foundation of what you really want before you let in all the noise, it's much easier to decide which strategies, because you know when you're like lying to yourself and you're being like, oh, like, I know I really want to do this and I need to do it, versus it's just another thing that is feeling out of alignment, right?
One more thing I've got to do.
Yeah, because like when we're pouring ourselves into stuff, if it doesn't feel like our true selves by the time others are receiving it, why do we do it anyway?
Yeah, exactly. Well, let me ask you this, because I know everybody's going to want to know this answer too. When you feel, because you and I talked about at the top of the episode, we were talking about how the overwhelm and the doubt and the crap talk never really goes away, no matter how successful we are. And so when you have feelings like that, I know you mentioned you'll change some words around. Like when you find yourself in the overwhelm and you're like really in it, how do you kind of undo that and come out of it? And does it take you very long? Like, are you kind of a 5-minute gal? Like, I'm going to feel this for about 5 minutes and then I'm going to get over it. Or does it take you a little bit longer?
When I'm aware, this is key, right? So you can ask yourself the same question, like, am I aware? Like if you're sometimes, so that's like a question, but when I'm aware, I will not stay there more than 5 minutes.
Right.
But if I go off track, like unawareness, it will take almost another person, somebody, and then that brings me back into awareness. So what I do is, I really look at this through the lens of like big picture. And this is a bit morbid, but I'm telling you, it'll pop you out of it quicker.
Yeah.
We all are born knowing we're going to die. Okay. We're like, everybody knows that, but then we're like pretending it's not true. Like, right. So admit that first to yourself. Like, like, is this going to matter 100 years from now?
That's a good, I like that.
So it's just like live or dead. Like, just put it in, like, is it going to kill you to do it? No, just do it.
Yeah.
Like, because so much of this ends up when we're in overwhelm, in procrastination, it is lack of clarity. So that is stepping back and asking yourself some clarifying questions.
Okay.
And this is why having a coach or mentor is so important.
Yes.
Because this is a situation where you would want to reach out to them. And, and if you don't have them, get one. And if you can't afford one yet, buy their books, listen to their shows, like what Tracy's, you have this amazing show. So surround yourself with people that help you get out of it, even if they're not your best friends yet. Right. Like, whether you pay for it, you do it so do that. Like, I will always put in more positive, right? I will always surround myself with more of that positive messaging.
Yeah.
So that's what's coming out, and then when I know I have to be in situations where they're not aware, but they're just more negative. We have family, we have friends, we love them, but I will amp up the positivity to sort of, you know what I'm saying? So that it doesn't start spewing out of me.
Right.
Because we can be like sponges. So I ask myself, like, is it really going to matter 100 years? And usually that makes me laugh. And from a place of like laughter, I will be like, yeah, I'm just going to do it. Or no, I don't effing want to do it. And it's
right.
So that's the piece. The other piece is like, since we spend the time that we really get overwhelmed, it's usually based on what other people think. It comes from a lack of imposter syndrome, insecurity, not feeling worthy, this unworthiness piece. And that is the piece that we always have to work on. I mean, I have never met any woman, that was being honest, that does not suffer from this. Jennifer Lopez suffers from this.
Right.
So it's hello, if she's so that's the thing. Like you just have to tell yourself that, does it really care? In 100 years, we're all dead anyway. What do I care if she thinks I'm crazy? You know, if you have to go first or you have to look ridiculous, laugh at yourself.
And I do that all the, I mean, my audience knows I am a total goofball. I make up words. I talk with my hands.
That's why I love you. Because it's real. That's why I love you. I loved you since we met.
I can't help but just be me. Like I tried in the beginning of this business, I tried to be very buttoned up and anchor woman perfect and, all that. And I was like, this does not, I was like, ugh. And so when I finally found my groove and allowed myself to be myself, I even had some friends of mine that messaged me immediately after that first live when I was just let it out. And they were like, that is the best live you've ever had. I don't know what you put in your coffee, but that is what you need to do. That we saw you instead of this perfect persona person that you thought you needed to be. But that's how I felt. That's what I thought I needed to do in the online space because that's all I saw.
Yeah.
So tell us what's on the horizon for your business in the next 3 to 6 months. Like, tell us what's exciting for you.
So what's on the horizon is we are reopening the doors to the CEO Power Code in a few weeks. And the CEO Power Code is all about how to save yourself 10 hours or more every week.
Love it.
And this is about aligning your business so it serves your life, right? So there's 3 things that we go after. And this is like sort of the systems that we help people create within our group program. And it is that you need to create time for yourself, right? You need to carve out enough time to do what you want to do.
Yeah.
You need to have things that serve you so that you can have more profits and actually be living a life that you enjoy.
Right.
So it's just like, you need that joy, profits, and you need the time to do it. Yeah. So that I'm just really passionate about this because it transcends beyond just like the business stuff that I teach. Yeah. This is really about setting up your day to win, because when you set up your day to win, your month, your year, they take care of itself.
Right. It does.
And so that's like how because it doesn't have to be so big and overwhelming. And we break it down into bite-sized chunks. So I'm most excited about that right now.
That's really cool. And I know you brought a really good freebie for my audience. You want to tell everybody about it? Jill's going to put the link to everybody into the comments for us while Tracy's telling you about it.
Oh, awesome. So yeah, Trace and I talked. I'm like, oh, I know we talked about what you guys would probably need most. And it's amazing because it's the place to start, right? It's like so what we have for you is 5 different strategies that are in the form of a checklist. So it kind of can walk you through how to ask yourself these questions, or if you have a business bestie and you guys want to coach each other that way, but it'll walk you through where you should start, because I will never tell you what you need to do. I will always help guide you and hold space for you to reveal what you already know. So that is, that's the thing about the time-saving checklist. So it's going to help you with the first essential 5 strategies that you need to save yourself time. And I hope everybody really enjoys it, because I feel like this is like the $1 million checklist for free, because that's what it really cost me to create it. Like I made certain mistakes before.
That's so funny. I love it.
Yeah, that's why learning from people that are authentic and will share hi, how are you? I'm so smiley. And over here, OMFG, this is happening. They're happening at the same time. Right. I'm gonna put the smile on and make the show go while also going, oh, did that really just happen?
Yeah, for sure.
Those of us, like Tracy and myself, that are willing to share all of it, not just the bright, shiny parts. We got to share the dark shadows so that we can really honor and appreciate the light.
Yeah. I love that. Because I know everybody wants to connect with you. Yeah. After they've heard from you and they see your spirit and the joy that you bring to people, what's the best place to find you?
The best place to find me is probably in our, like, we have a Facebook group called Beyond Common Business Secrets. So come over there because it's supportive women.
Nice.
We are not as active as Tracy, your group. But we are welcome, we're welcoming. We are all about helping people find what works for their life from a place of support and prosperity.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
I feel like I always say this, like, we put out a ton of content, we do, but my energy is more initiating. That's just who I am. I am not designed to respond the way a lot of people's energy is. So it's like when it comes into my creative flow, that's just who I am. So the Facebook group is the best place because I'm in there every day.
I love it. That's awesome. Okay, my friends, I want you guys to connect with Tracy. I want you to download her freebie because it's time-saving strategies and things that you really need to think about. This has been outstanding. And now I've got a question for everybody in the audience. I want to ask you something. How are you feeling about your ability to grow your business, especially in light of the conversation that Tracy and I had? Hopefully, you're feeling a lot better about the actual feelings and the genuine feelings of happiness and fright and all the things that go into being an online entrepreneur. But sometimes we start doubting our abilities, like we talked about today, and we start thinking we don't have what it takes to make good strategic decisions. And this is crap that we're telling ourselves. We're telling ourselves crap stories. And I have a freebie for you guys that I want you to also grab because this is a 1 minute or less exercise that is going to help you rewire your brain for success. So you're going to be working on the 5 strategies that Tracy's given you for your time savings and thinking about, as she told you, what's authentic to you, what feels good to you. Stop shooting on yourself. And then you take my 1 minute or less exercise, and this is going to be a home run for your day because I'm going to teach you how to recognize, like we talked about, you've got to recognize what's going on, recognize, reframe, repeat. That's the exercise. Go to tracybeavers.com/repeat and grab that and be here with me live every Thursday at 11:30 Central. I want you to put it on your calendar, set a phone alarm. Don't go it alone. You hear me say this every single week. Being an entrepreneur is freaking hard. That is why I bring people like Tracy on to interview about her journey, the good, the bad, the stuff that the money she wasted, just like I did, because this is a roller coaster. And some days everybody wants to buy everything you've got. And other days, nobody can remember who you are or what your name is, right?
Am I visible?
Yeah. I mean, and so if you guys feel like you are the only one that's feeling that way, hopefully this interview today demonstrated to you once again that you are not alone. We are all feeling it. Some people are just more honest about it than others. So Tracy, I want to thank you again for being here with us and sharing your journey. I'm checking the comments really fast. So many people are saying they feel so much better and they feel so much more normal. And Paula said she loved the comment about coming out of the shadows. And I think that's really powerful because some of us are afraid to tell people what we want to do with our business because we're afraid that they're going to say, oh, that's a bad idea. So real quick before we go, Tracy, so when you said to your family, I'm going to sell the hair salon, and they were mad and they still are.
They're so mad. Yeah.
And you were probably afraid that they were going to be judge your sins.
Yeah.
What would you say to somebody who's feeling that way right now, who wants to kind of out themselves with their business, but they're afraid their friends and family are going to go, why are you doing that?
This is probably an unpopular opinion.
Oh, let's share it.
I'm going to tell you that assume everybody is going to be a judgerson.
That's a good thing.
And do it anyway.
And do it anyway.
And then find people, even if it's just Tracy and myself, that will rally around you and say anything is possible.
Right.
I'm serious, because the thing is, and this is no disrespect, because the people in our lives that are putting that kind of pressure on us, they are not even actually thinking about you at all. They have their own limiting belief and they are afraid themselves. So they are projecting their own fears onto you. Yeah. So you need to, like, I do this little exercise. I'm like, wiping it clean. Like, it's like a visual thing. I just do. So this is so that toxic energy doesn't stick to you.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm good. Thank you. Fun.
Right.
And the thing is that when you if you believe it, it's going to happen.
Yes.
Like these phones, we didn't have these that many, right? It was someone's vision.
100%.
And now they're like so important to how we communicate in life. Who would have thought? 100%. So way back when they had stone tablets, nobody, like we didn't think this.
Right.
So assume that people are not going to think like positive thoughts around your business. Just assume that this will release the pressure.
Yes.
And then you can almost make it laughable. Like if right now you're the only one that believes it, that is fine. Find some people that can rally around you,
right,
and take the initiative to do it anyway.
Yes.
Because this vision dream was not planted as a seed within anyone but you. It's
right.
for you. No one else needs to get it but you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that because our friends and family are not going to be our supporters. They are the last ones to sign up for anything we sell or offer. I don't know why it is. It's easier to sell to strangers than it is to my friends and family.
It's so true. That is so true.
But the other thing I tell myself, I put on my sassy britches and I go, oh, you know what? You don't pay my bills.
Right.
And you don't know what the joy is in my heart. And the other thing is, I think there is some projecting going on from them, but I think there's also a little bit of giving them the benefit of the doubt. They really care about us and they don't want us to make a mistake. They don't want us to invest a lot of money and get our hopes up and da-da-da-da-da. And a lot of people don't understand the online space. Like when people in my family ask me what I do, I go to explain it. And then I know just based on the look on their face, they're like, I have no idea what she's talking about. Yeah. And it's totally okay. It's okay. It's okay.
But when they meet somebody that says something similar to what you said, they're like, oh, Tracy's free. So it does happen. I always say it's really important to stress this. You still share with your family and friends that don't get it. You still share with them what you do. Trace, actually, the podcast episode when you were on Beyond Common Business Secrets, everyone should go listen to that because it was about authentically sharing who you are and really building a community. And I think we dove into that.
Yeah, I think we did.
So like, that's the piece of like, you still share it because people will go, oh yeah, I have no idea what it means, but she said this 1,000 times to me.
Right.
And then they'll get you a referral somehow.
Right. I love that. All right, my friends. Tracy, thanks for being here again.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure. Such an honor. Thank you.
Thank you. My friends, I want you to have a great balance of the week and weekend. And I say this every single week. When one of us rises, we all rise. So that is why we've got to keep cheering each other on. All right. I will see you guys next week, next Thursday at 11:30 Central with another live training. Take care.